Hi, welcome to this live build. The goal today will be to build a very, very robust SEO article generator that has both automations, but also an interface where we can be asking for more content, sharing a brief, and then like visualizing, maybe post-editing what has been generated by the AI. And to do that, we will be using different tools. We will be using n8n for the very complex AI automations that will be about writing these articles. We'll be using Lookio, which is the platform that I've developed to actually get very reliable RAG, so knowledge retrieval based on your documents. So we'll be selecting some documents that actually contain the knowledge that we want to integrate within our articles and be querying those documents via RAG using the platform Lookio. That makes it very easy to do that and to automate, like integrate that within automations. Then we will be using Softr, which is a no-code app builder where you can design your interface, store your data, but there is also a layer of automation, and we'll see how we will match that with n8n workflows. And yeah, for that use case, we will also be using Linkup, which is a an AI web search tool via API. So we'll be able for our articles to also get some content sources from the web to, for example, directly include those as hyperlinks within our articles, which can be cool. So overall, we will have the control in a nice interface to like ask for a specific article. We'll be writing down the title, also writing a few guidelines like a brief. And from there, we'll have an AI workflow that will first look into the reference documentation that we imported because it contains all the information, and we don't want the generic ChatGPT like knowledge to actually be the knowledge of this content, but we want high quality content through that. And we will also be completing those insights with insights from the web, leveraging Linkup, and we will receive the article once it's ready in our interface to be able maybe to edit it manually again, a bit like human in the loop, or like reviewing that draft from the AI. So yeah, let's get started, and we'll be basing that like we could be rebuilding that fully, but I have actually prepared already an n8n workflow that is set up to call both Lookio and Lookup in the context of article generation. The only difference is that we will have to fine-tune it to actually integrate it within our workflows, so it can be triggered from the interface instead of here from a form. So yeah, let's get started. We will just be copying that workflow and pasting it here. So the way it works is that we get the so for now it's through a form, but we get the article title and the guidelines. And we then have an AI that will break it down into multiple sub-questions before we pass each of these questions through first our Lookio assistant, so doing the knowledge retrieval, and we'll be looking at the documents in a couple minutes. Then doing the AI web search through Linkup, and then formatting all these insights before, so we run that for each of the sub-questions that the AI has identified. And then we aggregate all these resources, all these insights, before giving them to this AI step that will actually be writing this article based on all these insights. And we'll be for sure like modifying that to actually send the results, store it in our database. Let's get started with actually our interface and database. So I'll be using Softr here. So we'll have AI content, AI SEO content app, and we'll start by structuring our database. So I'll go here and add a new base, SEO content, with the first table where we have users. So I always have that in my tables. So we'll have here the email. We'll make it very simple. Make it an email. We will not need that one and not that one, but we'll just store maybe the short text, the name. And yeah, that will be it. And then we'll have one table for the articles. So we will have here the title of the article. We will have the kind of the brief and guidelines. Just the brief. Status, that's great. We'll have maybe idea, then we'll have AI draft, and then in review. Yeah, idea, perfect. So let's just fill one up. Just to have some sample data, and we will have, so for sure, a long text for the article. Yeah, full content. Yeah, and for now, like that will probably be it. We'll eventually add a related record to the creator, linking to the user. Perfect. So now we have one table for our users, one table for our articles, and that's where, yeah, that will be the starting point for this app. So if we go back now to the interface, we will be adding, yeah, let's add, for example, a list of articles. So I'll add here the database SEO content and then link it to articles. So from there in the content, yeah, we'll hide the cover. We don't have one yet. We'll have the title, and then maybe in a secondary section, I like to remove all of that. We'll have a status, the creator. Yeah, that should be enough. Then we will create a new page. That's the article detail. And in here, we'll have the item detail that will link to the article again. So it will be once we click from the homepage on an article, that's what we'll see, like when we open it. So we'll keep the title here. In the database, I'll just be removing the 2 empty articles. So we have some space. Yeah, now the preview is better. In this section, let's do stacked. And so let's not have the full content here, but rather the... So in the first place, we'll have the creator and the status like this. And then another section with the brief. I'll add a little styling here to have these as containers. The theme I like to use, I don't know why, this font, and for the accent, maybe something orangey. And yeah, that should be something even more vibrant. Perfect. So we have now our brief, and I'll just, so I'm using 2 different blocks here because I really want a button here, for example, to do edit brief or edit main data, main details with a little icon like this, because here we will be allowing to edit only those things. And the full content, because it will be long, we'll have it below somewhere like this. So instead of the brief this time, we'll have the full content, and here we will not have any action. And yeah, we'll have at some point, we could basically here run a custom workflow that's a Softr workflow, and it would enable us to show a waiting screen until the article is done. But the technique that we'll use for the article will actually require maybe 2 minutes for the redaction to be done. So right now we'll just have it under a call API, and we'll see how to launch that. Yeah. So that will be later. The button we will click to launch the generation of the article, and yeah, full content. Eventually here we'll also have edit article, where this time we can edit the full content. So it will be an additional button. And now if we go back to the homepage, so I always like to add a CTA. So there will probably soon be a blog to do that. For now, I'm just using this technique where I just add a CTA and I add a background image. And we can, for example, add something like that. So we have a nice cover image. I think it's always cool. And yeah, perfect. Now we can add an action that's about here. When we click on an item, it will open the detail page that we have actually just designed. So I'll open it like this. And here we can choose the page that we have just created. And we will be opening that in a sliding model. So if we already... And yeah, maybe let's also configure our users. Here I will map that to the users table that we have created. So we're able to sync that, and here every line. So let's say no. So this should create a user for me. And what we could add here is 2 other things. So I always like to add a tab container to have a first tab with all articles. We can even add a little heading here. AI SEO content platform. And that one I will be adding it in there. Perfect. And the second tab will be a new article. I'll even add this thing. Perfect. Here, so we have a search bar. We didn't look into that, but we have a search bar where we can maybe search through the brief or the title. We can have also let's configure some filters. So we can filter by status, but also by creator. So status, and we have all our, we sort them in this way. So idea drafting review, and then we filter here by the creator. We can also add someone else. Perfect. And yeah, new article. Let's quickly add. Maybe before that, we'll just preview. Yeah, perfect. So now if I log in as Guillaume, yeah, I'll be able to see that. So that's already great. Now what we will configure is the form to add a new article. So I'll add in here a form centered, perfect. And I will map it to this table so that whenever we fill the form, it adds a new record. So in the steps here, I'll call that new article. Prepare the article title and a brief before we let our AI do its magic. So here I'll remove a few fields that I won't need. And yeah, what we need here is the title and the brief and the status as well, and the creator as well, but the status we will hide it, and we will automatically put it as an idea. And for the creator, we will also hide that, and we will use the logged in user email as the creator. So whoever created that record becomes automatically gets assigned to that article. In here, let's add a title, like a placeholder. Same for the brief. So we can, for example, tell a bit like give some ideas to the end users. So like inspire them, focus on the part and make sure it's all right, because the brief will be really, because from a title, the AI will not, it will try to guess what's best to write about, but it's always better when you provide a bit of your human expertise. Perfect. So then when you submit that, we want to, that's perfect like this. All right, so now we got this form, and we got this list of all articles, and it's pretty much what we need. So let's try it again. Now we have this tab that appears, and we can say, so overall the topic we will choose is the topic of sustainability, carbon accounting. I like this topic because there is a lot of documentation out there that actually serves as a reference point for writing content. So if we say, how can calculate their emissions from vehicle fleet, for example, and in the brief, let's say like, this article should be dedicated to sustainability managers and should be very practical. Yeah, you can basically add more. So the way then to find it would be to go in here. I don't know. We'll just have to refresh, and it's already there. So with that button, we can modify those things, and we can also edit the full content that doesn't exist yet, because it's what we will build now. So when clicking launch generation, we will actually have that trigger our workflow. Let's just clean this up. Yeah, for now we just have a homepage. In Softr, we can also be either using their subdomain, AI SEO content. let's see if this is available. And if we publish now, it should be, instead of like, publishing under this domain, it should look more like a domain that we have tailored. So need to log in. Now what we will do, just for testing purpose, is to activate the permanent login link. And it's basically a sort of magic link. So you could have for each users a link that enables you, whenever you open it, it's actually, and I think it needs a minute when it's a new app, or to publish that. It basically enables to contain authentication token within the URL. So you could send that maybe over email to your customers if it's a customer portal, and they don't have to deal with a password, or they can set it up later. So in some cases, it's cool to have. Let's also try our filters. Perfect. That works. And I think it's now time for our workflow. So instead of starting it with a form here, we'll be starting it with a webhook, because that's the way we will be able to call it. So webhook, like, it's pretty much equivalent to what you know as an API endpoint. It will enable to call that workflow from the interface or from another workflow. So here, let's use the post method, and we can customize the path. So new AI article. So we then get this prod URL, and what I like to do is to directly use the prod URL instead of the test one, because if I now go into the studio here, in the article detail, that's where I can add this webhook URL, and I can then decide what data do we send. So we could be sending for example, the record ID of that article, because later we will have to associate the newly created article to store it in an existing record in our database. If you remember, here, every row here has a record ID, which is unique. We can also display it this way. So we'll have to send that record ID to our workflow, so that at the end of the workflow, we are able to store that. So we are sending the record ID, we are sending the article, the title, from the selected record, so from there, and the brief, of course. So when it is started, our workflow has everything it needs to then, if we compare to the method with here with the form, we had to manually put that and that. So we are all set once we have these elements. We're good to go. And oops. All right, so we can also configure that, and for now that will be it. I'll publish that, and just go in there and launch it for one of the articles. So right now it didn't do anything, and I'm going here in the executions of my n8n workflow, and I see that there was a successful execution, and it's actually just that. And we can see here that in the body we received everything we need. So I'm going to just copy that to the editor, so the data stays here, and we can then work with that to map it to the next node, etc. So let's remove that actually, because we'll replace it here. And right before we actually deal with the article, etc., what I want to do is to use here the Softr node to actually update a record, because we do want to change the status of the idea to put it. Maybe we add a new status called generation AI processing right here. So we are able to inform the end user about the status, especially because this one will last maybe 2-3 minutes of generation, which is totally okay, because it's like bringing a lot of value and we don't need to have it instantly. So we'll update a record in the articles, and that's the first time we will be using the record ID. So before we spend minutes generating the article, we have to notify that we have actually started the process. So here for the status, I'll just copy what we had here. Yeah, perfect. Say where. All right, at least it's clear. If we just run that, we should have here, perfect. We see that it worked. So now we are ready to continue and to actually, configure the rest of the workflow. So here, that was a set node just to set some variables, and we'll actually just map them to what we got in the webhook. Title and brief guidelines. Doesn't matter. From here, I think we will only be using that and not the form submission anymore, if I had configured that in the right way, and it's the case. Perfect. So now what this step does, let's see, we can run it here. It will return a structured output that looks like this, with multiple questions that are actually the questions that can help to break the topic down into subtopics. So if we look into the response, we have here quite a lot of questions, actually, between 5 and 8. So if we split them out here, and it should be automatic. Okay, we had the maximum, so we had 8. And then, so if we look again at these questions, they start very generic, like what are scope 3, emissions, etc. And then they get very, very specific. And that's the way that this workflow will actually be gathering insights for all these specific aspects of the overall topic, to then bring them back and create a comprehensive article based on that. So we will really make sure that the AI at the end has a good amount of insights to write the article. And now we enter the loop where we will run the 2 knowledge retrieval. So, and actually this got moved. So the first part is Lookio. So again, Lookio is this platform. I will be looking into that right now. So Lookio is this platform where you can upload your knowledge base, your documents. It can be text, PDF, docx, etc. You then can create assistants on top of these documents. So think of it like custom GPTs, things like that, where you give them instructions and context. For example, hey, you write for an audience of CFO, etc. And these assistants, you can grant them access to certain documents or all your documents. And that's these assistants that you can then query via API. So you can send a question to the API. For example, we had these questions here. When passing that question, we will then get an answer that is based on the document we had uploaded, using the tone and style that we define when configuring the assistant. and it can contain the reference to the sources that have been used. And that's a big difference with custom GPTs. They don't tell you where they found the information. And these run really high quality retrieval. So we'll be creating a free account, and you can get started with 100 free credits, and then you can just refill the packages. Okay, I verify my account and set up a password, and I'm good to go. So my company is Carbon Limited, work in marketing, SEO content. Heard it from a YouTube video. So when I start with Lookio, I will first have to set up a workspace. So in my case, it's a brand new workspace. So I'll create it, and let's name it workspace. Perfect. So I'm setting up my workspace, and that's where I'll be able to import my files. So that's the first step, importing, uploading your resources. So I have here these two documents that are very comprehensive PDFs. I'll be downloading them here. Very comprehensive, that basically tell everything about carbon accounting, decarbonization. So it's really a gold source, and I could basically split that into maybe 20 articles very easily, and it would be good quality. So I'll go in here and import these two PDFs. Perfect. And now I need to give these PDFs a title that will be used whenever the assistant is referring to them. They can refer to a specific title, and we see here that the file title was not perfect, so that's my chance to clean that up. So this is the GG protocol official documentation, and I can actually be giving a URL, and it could be this one actually. So that's if I want, for example, for my SEO article, if I want to have automated external linking, which is very useful to good sources. That's going to happen automatically here, and that's the SBTI Net Zero standard, and let's also add a source. So I'll click here to upload it, and basically what will happen is that they will be processed by the platform. So we see here that the status is starting, and okay, we already see that it got the number of words. So it will be processed. So then they can be used within the, and we see here both are ready. They can be used within assistance. So if we go back to the homepage here, we see that this is the next step. We create an assistant. So let's say this is our Carbon SEO boat. In the context, so you are helping carbon management media to write articles, and especially to gather insights about articles. So it's very important that you reuse the most accurate sentences and terms possible about the information that you find in documents. And here, so you make sure that whenever you use information from a document, you then add in parentheses both the title of that resource and the URL of that resource when it's available. So we hit next, and then we can decide if it can access just some of the resources. So I mean, in our case, we have only 2 and we have only 1 assistant. So I'll go for all resources, and I'll create this assistant. From there, we get the assistant ID, which will be useful later. And we could actually already be querying that assistant just as a test in the interface. But the goal is, of course, to use it within the API. But let's give it a first test and say what's our scope 3 emissions. And here we can select between 3 modes, Eco, Flash, Deep. And basically, Eco is the most efficient one. It costs 1 credits to run it. It's less fast than Flash, so that's why Flash is like optimized for speed. For example, if you want to have it in a chatbot, so it's three credits per query, and Deep is really the smartest mode that takes more time, but it really has an engine that is optimized to increase the performance. So for now, let's go with Flash to just have a quick query, and here in the interface we're able to give it a try, just to see how the answers would look like, maybe in case we want to edit a bit the core information, and we get an idea of the response. So let's go ahead and try to have that in our API. So we could directly here copy the n8n node and paste it in the canvas here. Now we will not do that because this is actually already pre-filled. So we will be we'll be simply filling the API key and the assistant ID, and then from there automatically the mapping will be done. So the assistant ID is available here. Perfect. And the API key, so I would recommend to actually add it here as a generic credential type, to avoid having to manually paste it in here. It's also a bit more secure. Now here for the video, I'll be deleting that API key later, but I'm going in Lookio, I'm going here and I create a new API key. And from there, I can just copy it and paste it in there. And yeah, this is configured, so we can give it a try. Perfect. So here in the response, we receive everything we need, the full response, and also here it took 7 seconds to generate. So that's very good. So now we move into the Linkup part. So here again, this is all pre-configured, and basically the only thing we'll have to change is the authentication. So yeah, mine is actually already connected, but the way you could find one, you had to link up, and you can create an account, and you can then get your API key. You also have a nice playground to like test your queries, etc. But in our case, it's already set up, and if we run it, it ran this one again. So I'll just that'll be all right. Yeah, maybe I'll hit P to ping this data. So when it's purple here, it will not be reprocessed if we were to do that again. And here we see that we get a nice structured output with all the insights. So the insight, the URL, and the title. So later, I'll also ping that one. So if I run this one, when we aggregate all the research, we really have a nice, so if I put it in the table, question, internal knowledge, insights, web insights. And again, questions. So that for the 8 questions. And that's what we were, that's what we're giving here to our AI step, where we give our article title, the guidelines, so the brief. Yeah, that's like ideally this is more detailed, and the content to leverage, and that's all the research that we have done automatically. So ideally here, either you add manually, statically here, maybe your I don't know, if you're writing for your startup, you can say about I don't know, Acme, the company you're for, and here you would describe like we sell solutions for this, and we also do that, and the link to our homepage is this, and the link to our demo request is that. So basically, this would be something that you always want to include in all your articles. So it's not related to the brief, because it's really maybe your pitch that you want to be included whenever you write an article. Here, we'll just skip that part. It would be also interesting to have that stored maybe in a specific table or somewhere in your database. So actually you could then even modify it from your interface. So your team can maybe enrich the description of your product and your company as you, I don't know, add new features or develop new products. Your team wouldn't have to go back into n8n, but they could simply add and fine-tune this sort of pitch of your business from the interface, and you would then add maybe here or right before here, query this Softr database or wherever you store that. It could be also on a Google Doc. It will be querying to get the latest version of that knowledge, and that's also useful to add in your articles. And here, so I wrote already like a system prompt that's quite generic, and I would recommend that you fine-tune it, for example, with your tone of voice and things like that. In our case, we'll just go ahead with that. And I'll run this node so that we can, after we have the article in there, we'll be basically adding a Softr, again, update record. And let me just copy this one, update record, because we'll be storing the final article draft. And just that for here, we'll actually have to get back to the webhook, item, JSON, body, record ID. And instead of changing the status, so I'll also ping that one. And if we see here, we have our full article, so that's perfect. So I can just run that and then map this to the full content here, article. And basically when we, this is the last step of our workflow, we should be seeing that appearing if this goes through. If we open that article again, yeah, we have our full content. Let me just fix this. Yeah, we want it stacked, so it looks better. Perfect. And we also want to, we do want to show it as a rich text. Publish. So as you can see, you can modify your app publish like in a second. And here you've got your expert article that also, as you can see, contains a source here to the GAG protocol, a source to an external article it could find probably on this source online, and we can probably verify that. We could actually pull some sources to have it in this paragraph, or here we're getting content from there. And whenever we want, we can then edit the article and, I don't know, maybe like continuing that with another button that would be maybe here like a publish, and it would send this to Webflow, for example. That's really cool. So if we summarize, we have here a system where, even though we have a complex here, it's quite advanced, and not everyone from your team should get in there. We have a complex automation workflow in n8n, but we actually offer a very intuitive and modern-looking and nice app where your team members can safely log in and be requesting some new articles, like how to do this. I always like to add H2 to include, so why reducing emissions, best frameworks, calculate, sorry, or yeah, 10 best practices to reduce emissions. How digital tools help with that. Start the intro with an inspiring quote. Yeah, so that's the role of your experts to really nail this brief, put as much insights requests as possible. Oops. And yeah, then your team can go in here. Did I save this workflow? Yeah. You would hit launch generation. This could take a minute because, and we see here, status is AI processing, and what we forgot actually is to also change the status here to whatever the status was, to AI draft actually. So whenever it's done, it also gets the right status. We could then, let's say, in our while this is loading, and yeah, the reason why it's loading is that it's going through that one by one instead of in parallel. So you could also like create a system using, I don't remember if it's either like turning that into a sub workflow or into something that starts with a webhook, but there is actually a way to make them parallel. So if like these 3 nodes take 40 seconds, it will not be 8 times 40 seconds, but 40 seconds in total. Yeah, we could also be adding, so for example, here another tab for articles pipeline with, I don't know which icon, no icon, where here it would be actually a Kanban with all our articles. That would be, and I think here we can group by status, perfect. And I think it's in here, we allow drag and drop, so let's just remove that. So if we place this here, we already have something that looks even more like a tool that your team could actually be using to really manage your we need to add now the action about when you click, it opens a detail page in the same kind of model. And yeah, this already starts to look like a tool that your team could use to actually handle and manage their contents. Then if you, let's say you want, so here we have one that's an article, let's say it was assigned to Lucy. You could also have something like maybe a new tab, my articles. And if we duplicate that and we put it in there in my articles, we could then here, thanks to Softr, this is built in, you say we conditionally filter when the creator is any of the logged in user email. And in here, let's remember, so the what is scope 3, if I'm logged in as Guillaume, I should not see it, which is the case. So as a content editor, I would see my articles and I would go through them, able to filter through, etc. And maybe in the meantime, our article could get generated. No, it's still running. But yeah, again, they're all right. Just finished. So let's see. We got 7 sub questions being generated. We got the Lookio tool that ran multiple times and always found like these insights with the links and stuff. Amazing. We gathered all that in here in this JSON. We gave it all here, and we have, I think, a pretty, if we go now back into here, it was this article. And remember, we asked, start the intro with an inspiring quote, and I think that's exactly what we have here. We have very nice hyperlinks. So this is our source, the SBTI document. This is an external source. This is an external source, etc. And we can see that this is not a random article. This is a high quality article that really is based on, so in our case, a mix of the sources that you have decided. Some also, you allow some external sources on the web. You could also only search certain domains, like, yeah, for example, the sbti.com or whatever there. So you can also maybe pick, because you don't want this flow to actually reach low quality sources. Yeah, this is powerful, and you can build that in hours for your team. So I hope this was useful to see it built live. You can definitely, if you type that, or I'll also be adding the link to the description, but you can definitely reuse that that workflow template. I have another one here that is the same version, I think, but without Linkup, if you don't want to allow web search. Yeah, hope this is useful. Bye.